$7:03 on this Tuesday, August 26th. Welcome to the morning warm up. I'm Trey Lyle. That's Luke, intern Luke.
I'm here.
Ty is here as well, over his shoulder. Welcome to the morning warm up. I'm Trey Lyle. As mentioned, I don't know why I said my name twice. You can tell I'm still in the morning mode, as I said my name twice in like a minute span. But we got a lot to get over with in case you missed it. So let's get into it.
Keeping up with sports 24/7 takes some serious effort, especially when you're sleeping. Don't worry, the morning warm-up stays alert around the clock. Now here is everything you missed last night.
The man to give us all the details on how this got finally over the finish line will join us in about 16 minutes from now. Lake Lewis, NFL Commanders insider, but he's saying all along a deal would get done before the season, and guess what? A deal got done before the season. Terry McLaurin agreed to a 3-year extension worth $96 million. Add 3 more years to McLaurin, who will now take the field with 2025 with a clear head and a full bank account. The AAV of $32 million, I can do the math in my head, is just under what DK Metcalf got at $33 million. So right around where we expected it. And Terry McLaurin gets paid and gets 96 M's. So, yeah, deal that had to get done. Deal got done. Lake Lewis said it would get done, and it did get done right before the season. Speaking of deals getting done, Bengals and Trey Hendrickson reached an agreement today on a $14 million raise for this year, boosting his 2025 salary to $30 million per sources. Hendrickson is still scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent after the season. So, Bengals kind of just bumping his salary for the 2025 season, making him, but are not giving him a long-term deal. But at least they've settled the contract talks for this season, so he will play for the Bengals. Because boy, oh boy, do the Bengals need him? I would argue that they need him more than the Commanders needed Terry, because oh my God, the Bengals defense is going to be bad. It's just going to be bad.
It's always so bad.
By the way, I do recommend giving guys named Trey $14 million raises. I think that's a great idea. I want to put that out in the ether. That's a great idea. Ty, do you have an actual football point as you stroll on over here?
I agree with you on that one. Like
that Trey should get, guys named Trey should get $14 million raises. I appreciate that. No, but the actual football point of the Bengals probably needed Trey Hendrickson more than the Commanders needed Terry. I mean, it's not like a big difference. It's just more of like
on a scheme. And
I think Washington scheme up offensively a little bit more than the Bengals just flat out. The Bengals are basically the modern Colts, just not doing it as well, where they have an elite quarterback, 2 elite receivers, and are trying to beat you.
Well, I want to say about, see, that's hard. Well, no.
That Colts team was better because that defense was better.
Yeah.
Like, at least that defense was competent. This Bengals, because they had dudes in the defense. Like, they had Mathis, they had Bob Sanders, but I'm trying to think of Dwight Freeney is the one.
Yeah.
And like, I would argue Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis are 2 Hall of Fame level players. And then Bob Sanders, I think if he's just stayed healthy for his entire career, would have been a Hall of Fame. He would have been a Hall of Fame player. Like, when he was playing for their set, like notice the year they won the Super Bowl, a big reason why the Colts won, and we're getting off track, but big reason why when the Colts won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, a big reason helped them is Bob Sanders stayed healthy the entire season. Other football news, obviously roster cuts are being made, so trades and stuff are happening. The Lions are releasing former Virginia Tech and Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. Sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter and NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. Dan Campbell did suggest the other day that 2023 third-round pick could use a change of scenery, and he'll get the chance to do so now. Obviously, Kyle Allen will be the backup for the Lions. You think about Hendon tore his ACL late in his college career, missed his rookie season, and the writing on the wall was when they brought in Teddy Bridgewater, who was coaching high school football at the end of last season, to basically be their backup for the playoff run. It just really hasn't worked out for Hendon at the NFL level. It's a big what if about his injury because I think he was hovering in that first round when he tore his ACL the year he was on track to win the Heisman. At one point was going to win the Heisman and then obviously tore his ACL on that Tennessee team that was nearly a playoff team before it lost to South Carolina in that game where Hendon tore his ACL. The Raiders have acquired quarterback Kenny Pickett from the Browns in a trade Monday. The Browns received a 2026 fifth-round pick in return. Raiders made some other moves yesterday, including signing Amari Cooper, who we thought was going to retire, but turns out he's just returning to the Raiders on a one-year deal. Obviously, it was the fourth pick in 2015. Why they signed him is because Jacoby Myers has entered his final year of his contract and is requesting a trade. Sources told ESPN. Raiders and Myers were unable to come to a terms of a new deal. And Las Vegas, however, has no plans to move on from Myers, according to a source. His base salary is $10.5 million and salary cap hit of 14.98 in 2025. College football now. The game you can listen to for free right here on VTR and Sports. Great way to listen to it, especially if you're going to the game, right?
I'm going to actually go to the game and listen to it. So,
are you really?
No, I'm not going to the game, but I probably will listen to it.
Yeah, if you are out and about, it is Labor Day weekend. You know, Labor Day. You're not. We don't have a show Monday. So
exactly.
The NCAA has approved the waiver for South Carolina standout running back Rasul Faison, making him eligible to play this season. Big development for South Carolina, who's been working for months to get Faison eligible. Faison transferred from South. He did travel. He had to travel to get there. Travel to South Carolina, but he transferred from South Carolina from Utah State, where he ran for 1,100 yards last season and was an All Mountain West selection. Other college football news in what I call the only college football, which I objectively think this is hilarious, and as not the biggest Dave Portnoy fan, I'm kind of okay with this. But Ohio State apparently is barring Dave Portnoy from entering their stadium for the Buckeye season opener against Texas. Sources told Front Office Sports. So Dave Portnoy, who's joining Big Noon Kickoff as kind of their response to Pat McAfee being on College Game Day. Now, in my opinion, Game Day kicks Big Noon's butt every week and probably still will, because one's establishment and one's trying to be new, and they also put their best game on at noon. And even though it gets a good rating, still not the biggest fan of noon kickoffs. If I'm at home, if I'm covering a game, noon kickoffs are great. So just point that out there. Like if I'm covering a game, if I have to go to a game and a noon kickoff, it's great because then you can go home for the rest of the day and watch the rest of the games. But I do miss, like, Ohio State just doesn't get a night game anymore for any of their big games, basically. Anyway, they're barring Dave Portnoy from entering the stadium. So basically, for that final hour right before kick, they just won't have Portnoy, which objectively is hilarious because, as you know, Dave Portnoy is a big Michigan fan and has, let's just say, said some things about Ohio State through the years. So
last year he paid a plane to fly to Michigan. Ohio State sucks or something. What was that? Do you remember that?
Who knows? But it's objectively objectively only in college football. It's kind of like when Game Day came to Michigan for Michigan Ohio State the year during the sign stealing scandal, and a lot of Michigan fans were upset at Pete Thamel because he was just literally like reporting the news. So Pete Thamel couldn't be on the Game Day set. He had to be in the stadium the entire time during the show. And like, obviously McAfee made jokes of how he should wear riot gear while he gives reports and stuff. But like, again, these are only in college football, You're not going to see, like, I don't know, Tony Romo get banned from the link because he was the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, or like so on and so forth. Like, this is an only in college football headline, which is, I just think at this point, people are calling it soft by Ohio State, it's Barstool people calling it soft by Ohio State. So they know where their bread is buttered. In my opinion, I think it's just hilarious and petty because they're going to celebrate the fact they won the national championship. And, you know, you just bar your rival from one of your most hated enemies, who is the biggest fan, like the most notable fan of your rival, from coming into your stadium, I think it's I think objectively hilarious. That's how I feel about that. Fun thing, per Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, Netflix has had an agreement with Major League Baseball where it will stream the 2026 World Baseball Classic in Japan. This is obviously Japan will probably be the most watched part of the World Baseball Classic because there's this guy, what's his name? Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, he's probably going to participate again. Obviously, is the best baseball player in the world. Japan had a big part of the viewership for the World Baseball Classic last time around. So I think this is a cool thing. Obviously, Netflix is starting to get in bed with baseball. It is the favorite to land the home run derby. So expect Netflix to get a baseball package relatively soon in the United States. And now we're going to the courtroom. Dun dun. I need like the Judge Judy theme. But yeah, we're going to the courtroom. Hopefully I don't have to do this much more because Thursday we might get some clarity. NASCAR respectfully provides notice pursuant to the court prior orders that it plans to issue a charter to redacted. We don't know the team. After the court has an opportunity to review the notice and make such determinations as it sees appropriate. The two parties will meet in court Thursday over an injunction and asked by 2311 in front row regain charter status, but also prevent NASCAR from allowing other parties to acquire the disputed charters for 2026. NASCAR can't sell these charters until the court rules on Thursday's hearings. So essentially, NASCAR is saying they have a buyer for the charters, and they view these charters as inactive, and they are not owned by 2311 or FRM, so they want to give them to other teams. We don't know who that team is. Obviously, you can recklessly speculate whether it's Legacy Motor Club, who's connected to a rumored merger with Haas Factory team, or buying the Rick Ware Racing charter, or one on and so forth. 2311 FRM in response basically said if they don't get this injunction or not able to keep their charters, they would shut down after the 2025 season, which objectively would suck. Talked about how Tyler Reddick has already activated his release clause if they're not able to get the charter. And so if Tyler Reddick becomes on the market, that changes the dynamics of silly, if you want to call it silly season. I think Hendrick Motorsports would be very interested in him. So I mean, it's, again, legal jargon is always fun at this time, and we'll find more clarity on Thursday if the injunction is granted. I hope that at least 2311 and FRM don't shut down, because those are two really teams that clearly have invested more over the last couple of years and want to grow in NASCAR. Plus, you're losing Michael Jordan, which is, even though he's the second best basketball player ever, shot to Ed, he's still a pretty popular guy. I just had to get that slight. I had to just get that slight little thing in there. But that is your news from yesterday. Did I miss anything, Ty? No? Anything get thrown on a court? By the way, one got thrown on the same thing we like to talk. We don't like to talk about it. Yeah, that was bad words. But they've expanded. Apparently, they were thrown at the PGA Tour event this weekend. Mm-hmm. And then, so I think no, not the U.S. Open. I thought somewhere else. But no, at least the PGA Tour event one was thrown.
Hold on, I think about it. What you think about
it? Let's hope we're not thinking the same thing.
Okay. But the WNBA, I think they're in a potentially going on a lockout, I think, after the season. And I think Bleacher Report released their from 2000 to 2025 route much more for the NBA teams and everything. But overall, you didn't miss nothing, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean that's a thing down the line, the lockout, which if you've read any little bit about it, you're looking into looking into it. All right, baseball scores from yesterday. The Yankees beat up on the Nats 10-5. Red Sox defeat the Orioles 4-3. Marlins over the Braves 2-1. Rays over the Guardians 9-0. Blue Jays over the Twins 10-4. Mets over the Phillies 13-3. Brewers over the Diamondbacks 7-5. White Sox over the Royals 7-0. Cardinals over the Pirates 7-6. Angels over the Rangers 4-0. Mariners over the Padres 9-6. Athletics over the Tigers 8-3, and the Dodgers defeat the Reds 7-0. And those were your baseball scores from yesterday. All right, when we come back, there's a clear pecking order at running back for the Washington Commanders. Clearly,
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
could be in line to start. We'll talk about Bill. Plus, Terry got paid again. We'll talk about that and much more with Lake Lewis next on the Morning Warm Up.
Don't miss the final days of our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get a new 2025 Ram 1500 and save up to $10,000 off MSRP. Choose a new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee and get retail bonus cash up to $3,500 off MSRP. Hurry in for huge final days discounts on over 230 pre-owned vehicles. It's almost over. Get to our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bedford, 1750 Independence Boulevard. MagicCityBedford.com.
As a mom, I want to enjoy my time with my family and not energy-draining, time-consuming projects. That's why I trust Executive Maintenance. When I need a handyman, I call Executive Maintenance. When I need lawn care and landscaping, I call Executive Maintenance. And when I have a big project like gutter cleaning and pressure washing, I call Executive Maintenance. Guard your family time. Trust Executive Maintenance for all your house jobs. Visit executivemaintenancelynchburg.com and call them today so you can spend time enjoying your family as I do.
Is it time for a new place to call home? Moving out on your own? Perhaps your existing lease is up for renewal. Looking for a new roommate? Or maybe you just need a change of scenery. Then you need to check out brownstoneproperties.com. We have Central Virginia's largest selection of apartments, townhomes, and single-family homes. Applying is easy with our online application. Visit us online to begin your search at brownstoneproperties.com.
Hot weather is right around the corner. Save money on those summer cooling bills by upgrading those old drafty windows. Discover energy efficient, easy cleaning tilt-in windows now with Collins Custom Builders. Our customers have relied on us for 35 years to provide the best in windows, siding, gutters, and more. Plan early and call today for your free estimate. Find us online at collinscustombuilders.com.
You know, when you get insurance, it's to protect you in case something happens and you're at fault. But it also needs to protect you in case you are not at fault and the situation still arises. How can you do that? That's where we get to chat now with Randy Trost of Trost Law. Randy, a pleasure to be speaking with you. We appreciate your time and perspective. What can people do to make sure they're protected if a situation arises and they are not at fault?
If you are in a motor vehicle collision and you are not at fault, and the unfortunate situation occurs where the at-fault driver does not have any insurance or high levels of liability coverage, you can have, and you should have, high levels of uninsured motorist coverage and underinsured motorist coverage. For instance, the minimum required levels of liability insurance currently in Virginia are $30,000 per instance, $60,000 per wreck. You never want to have that low of policy limits to protect yourself, and you always want to make sure you have higher uninsured or underinsured policy limits above and beyond the 30-60 policies that they write for the minimum here in Virginia.
And then people can also build on that by having a strong umbrella policy.
Yes, if you have a higher value liability, uninsured, underinsured coverage policy, you can also get an umbrella policy. But if you buy an umbrella policy, make sure that that umbrella policy provides uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage in addition to just liability coverage.
Randy, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
For more info, trostlaw.com, 434-777-HURT.
Head to lynchburg-hillcats.com to lock in your tickets for the Lynchburg Hillcats this season. Now here's VTR in Sport.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected with the show at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
$7:23 on this Tuesday, August 26th. All right, let's just see if we can feel old. Do you know what the New World Order is?
Say it again.
Do you know what the New World Order is?
I've heard of it.
Okay, like the wrestling group?
No.
Okay, that's what that theme was from. Not like the New World Order, like politically. No, that was from the NWO. That was you don't know what WCW is.
But
So-
I'm also not like, I've never paid
you-
attention to like wrestling. Like,
Well, that's fair, but also you weren't alive when WCW has never existed in your lifetime. To be fair,
Right.
while like the heyday was when Ty and I were very relatively young, so but we still know what the NWO is. So it's a cool T-shirt. But anyways, Lake Lewis joining us in a matter of moments here on the morning warm up, talking all things Commanders. Obviously, yesterday we dove into thoughts about on our end about the preseason, and so it's just yeah, I mean we're closer and closer away from the start of the season, which is good. Start of the NFL season. Obviously, this weekend start of the college football season, which you can listen to it right here on VTRN Sports. And joining us now is the man Lake Lewis joining us. Good morning, Lake. Hope you're doing well. Glad to see you. First off, your schedule. Obviously, busy time of the year when you're traveling from preseason game to preseason game. It seems like now your schedule is going to start to get back to normal again now that training camp's over with.
You think so?
No.
I don't know about all that, but I can tell you it's definitely nice to have yesterday and then today not having to be at the facility. So, but yesterday was all day of work from home because of obviously the great news. So,
yeah, let's work backwards before we get to the Terry contract. So Friday, Brian Robinson gets traded to the 49ers. We talked about his time in Washington ending. Ultimately, is that leading to the start of we're going to hear this a lot at I don't even know the new name of the stadium. I'm just FedEx Field.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Are we going to hear a lot of Bill Krosky Merritt coming up? Someone has a fantasy draft tonight. I need to know this.
you know, you're my dude, man, but that was the cheesiest thing ever. Listen, I think before Bill is anointed as the guy, I think they're going to do it by committee first. Obviously, they love the kid, and rightfully so, and he's an even nicer young man. He really is. You know, he's just a good kid. But I think they feel really good about Eckler. They feel really good about Chris Rodriguez. They feel really good about Jeremy McNichols, so they feel good about Demetric Felton. I think Demetric Felton will probably end up on the practice squad. However, they'll keep those other four backs. But yeah, I think ultimately, that what Bill gives this offense is something they haven't had in a long time. And that's a guy that has the ability to take one to the house. The kind of runs that were beating them last year, they want to be able to do that to teams too. So I think that's where he comes in.
Yeah, I told Trey, I said, I feel like Brian Robinson might end up going to San Francisco. I feel like he might fit better in that offense with Kyle Shanahan, because you got to think about Keith Kingsbury's offense is more like utility. I think Kyle Shanahan is more like a rundown. I feel like Brian Robinson might make a better impact with Kyle Shanahan's offense.
It's interesting you say that, because I'm almost inclined to go the other way. Kyle Shanahan's offense is more of a zone type of offense, zone blocking, and it's more quick cut, get to where you got to go. And that's not Brian. Brian's a bruiser, and he's not really a bruiser. That's how his style of play is. I'll give you this though, and I'll agree with you on this, Ty, is that Kyle will find a way, to have him fit in, and he doesn't have to be the guy. And I think that that's what's going to help him in San Francisco. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's already there. They've got some other backs who filled in really well when Christian was out. So they've got a nice committee after Christian that I think Brian will be part of. So I'm not penciling him in as the surefire second back after Christian, but I think in short yardage situations and things like that, or if their game predicates them being able to be more physical running the football, I think that's what he'll fit in San Francisco.
Looking at the roster now, as we're looking back at the running back position, so you look at Bill Krosky-Merritt. Obviously, you touched on Jeremy McNichols, Austin Eckler. Do you think this is a position? So you mentioned this is going to be by committee. Ultimately, who do you think they're going to favor at first before they truly get Bill Krosky-Merritt in there? Is that, I don't want to say their workhorse, but the primary back? Do you think it's going to be the experience of Austin Eckler at first?
I honestly, I think it's going to be by packages. I don't think there's that, like, we're so used to having a featured back. They don't have a featured back right now. They don't. And I think Austin Eckler does so many things well that, if you ask me at the end of the day who had the most touches in a game, I'm going to say it depends on who they're playing. Because in that Giants game, I think Chris Rodriguez is going to get the ball an awful lot when it comes to the backs. But I also see how Austin may get it a lot too. So it may be, 10 touches for one, 9 touches for another, 8 touches for another, 7 touches for another. And then it'll rotate the next game. But I think you're looking at maybe the halfway mark of the season before one guy may have established himself as a guy that gets the most touches as far as just handoffs. And then ultimately, yes, it's supposed to be Bill. I think everyone sees that, but this isn't one of those situations where, say, like last year with Brandon Coleman, they platooned him with Cornelius Lucas. This year, there's talk of maybe, Andrew Wiley starting at right tackle, which I don't think he will. I think he's going to start at right guard. I think he's the replacement for Sam Cosmi until Cosmi comes back week 5. And then, Josh Connolly Jr. starts at right tackle from day one. I've been saying that. I think that's what's going to happen. But I don't think the running back room is going to be – I don't think it's one of those things where they're making Bill earn the touches. It's not that. He's done enough that they moved an incumbent off the roster. But I think that right now their room is so dynamic with each guy being able to do something the other one doesn't necessarily do well. But overall, if you ask me who's the most complete back on the roster right now, it's Austin Eckler. Make no mistake about it. But we all know with the head injuries and things like that, you don't want him to be your workhorse. You don't. So ultimately that will get to Bill, but they've got to get him, he's got to adapt to the rigors of the NFL. I mean, he's been nicked up a little bit because, that's a physical position, probably the most physical position in football. He's going to take some hits, so they want to keep him fresh right now. No need to run him in the ground the first couple weeks of the season.
At Lake Lewis Jr. on Twitter, Lake Lewis Commanders NFL Insider. So let's talk about the transactional parts before we get to the final preseason game and any takeaways from it. Obviously, Terry gets paid yesterday, gets 96 M's. I want to mention, guy, again, I'm going to go back to my point my number one point from today's show, if you can't take it, is either guys named Trey or guys with the first letter T in their first name should get raises. It's a great idea. But Terry gets paid. You said all along this was going to happen. This was bound to happen. It happens. And you were right around the number. You said between 28 and 32 million. It's right under what DK Metcalf gets. Ultimately, what was the steps that finally got this over the finish line?
I just think they both realized, man, they need each other. They really did. And, yesterday I took some heat from some fans who thought I was piling on Terry. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with that. But I had mentioned as far as Saturday, being on the sidelines and his body language and things like that, it just, everyone noticed it. My colleagues talked about it on my show after the game that it didn't look good. And that's not Terry. Terry's a guy that's always smiling, always cheerful. And, so it had gotten to that point where you just were like, these guys really got to work something out here, because you don't want that to look like Terry, and you don't want the team to look like they're making him look like he's on an island, and ultimately it got done. I think it's probably a little bit more than I thought. I know what the number I said was 32, but I didn't know if Terry would get to that. I really didn't. And I knew if it got to 32, he's running to sign it. And that's what happened. And I think now we're all happy from the standpoint that, fans and media, we're all happy because we can just focus on football now. And that's what it was last year. And it was fun doing it. And you saw the results on the field, and just wasn't a whole lot of side stories, if at all, no distractions. This had become a distraction. It did. Well, now it's done. And now they get their most dynamic offensive weapon outside of Jaden, of course. And I'm really excited to see Terry paired with Debo, as I'm excited to see Debo paired with Terry. And then you sprinkle in the kid, Jalen Lane. Now, all of a sudden, a wide receiver room that looked really shaky, to say the least, now it's top heavy, and that's okay. I'm okay with their first three guys. We just talked about them. I think Noah Brown comes back week 1, and he'll be your fourth receiver. And if you told me that that's their 4 receivers locked in, I'm good, because I've seen what I've seen with Jalen. We already know what Terry's going to do. So now you just got to get them working together. It's going to be pretty good.
And do you feel like you wish they would have signed earlier, like early before the season? Because you got to think about, even though Terry been out for a whole training camp, but I would love to see him working. They can get the office flowing. They can have ideas, get ready before the first game of the season. And I feel like they're not behind, but Terry's a little bit left behind because the chemistry out there. You want to build that chemistry right away before the first game of the season.
Well, the thing people have to realize is that they've worked out together before. All through OTAs, they were working together. So there's already a little bit of chemistry that's developed. And it's also one of those things too, where, if you play a pickup basketball game, basketball is what I played in school and college. So naturally I always revert back to basketball. And I say that because you can play a pickup game of basketball, and when you're playing with bums, and when you're playing with really good players, and the runs are that much easier. Well, that's Terry. Terry's going to come in here and realize, damn, I got some dogs to run with me now. That they're going to pick up like nothing ever happened. As far as the chemistry on the field and off the field, sure, there may have to be a repair job on both sides, because this thing was starting to turn sour a little bit. But everyone, trust me when I tell you, is happy that this guy got his money. If you're a player, you're happy because it tells you, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to get paid too, and I'm going to get paid what I want. So, it's good all around, but I don't think the chemistry issue is going to be that bad. They still have 2 weeks, to really prep for the New York Giants. And yeah, I know people keep talking about the Giants defense, and I think the Giants are going to be a much improved football team this year. I think the Giants win 4 to 5 more games than they won last year. They're a team that'll probably fall off by December out of a playoff contention, but I think they're going to be a much better football team. I don't think they're on the same page as Washington as far as how good they are. Washington should take care of this football team with Terry working his way back in.
Yeah, with Mr. Unlimited, by the way, you're more than welcome to be our third in our 3-on-3 team against whatever Ed wants to roll out. But you will realize quickly how big of a bum I am at basketball. So I'll play defense and rebound and let you and Kai score, and we'll be good.
That's it, man. Just let me shoot. We good.
We got a plan. As we're here with Lake Lewis at Lake Lewis Jr. on Twitter. Obviously 0-3 in the preseason. I guess you never want to go 0-3 in the preseason. It's not like who really cares about the record in the preseason. is there any concern that none of these games were close? Like relatively, I know it was mainly backups in all three, but they were essentially three blowouts. Is there any concern with the team that they didn't play really any sort of competitive football in the preseason?
None whatsoever. And I was at Sunday, day after the game. I still was up in Maryland, Janine and I. So I end up visiting my sister and brother-in-law. And he asked me the same question. And, he's a big Commanders fan. He was concerned. And I told him, I said, listen, bro, I'm there every day. And I know what I see in practice with the frontline players. There was nothing of a resemblance of what we see at practice that was in those games. And I mean, most of those guys weren't even suited up the whole preseason. When they did get suited up, you saw what the offense did with Jaden. Then he didn't pass the ball and they scored. 4 plays, boom, they're in the end zone. It's electrifying. That's what you're seeing every day with him. Through the air, on the ground. You see Bill making big plays, big runs in practice. You see the defense at times, giving the offense fits. It's a collection of talent all over the board. And I can assure fans out there that they haven't shown you anything. And that was intentional because they know that first game's a divisional game. You want to get off to a good start in the division. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you ask me, remember this time last year, we talked about records, and I said this team was capable of winning 11 games. This team this year is capable of winning 14, 15 games. That's a fact. Will they? That's a whole nother story. But I think that 12-game barometer they were at last year, that should be right where they start this year. They should be capable of winning 12 games or more. I personally have them at 13 wins this year. So.
Ooh, well, we'll be fair and give you one more week before we get asked for an official prediction on the season. Cause sometimes you gotta wait as late as possible for these things, but, a sneaky big game early in the season, obviously, is that week 2 game on the road in Green Bay, where I feel like the Packers are a team that no one is really talking about. I still believe in Green Bay. I think injuries just killed them last season. I wouldn't be shocked the Commanders lose that game because it's a Thursday night game early in the season and you're coming off a divisional game. Like, it's the perfect makings of just an early season loss. But how big of that you're going to use as a barometer on their ranking truly in the NFC? Because using the NFC North as a barometer for how they could play this year is probably a good idea, considering it's maybe the best division in football, probably the best division in football.
Yeah, I think right now you probably have to say it is. But I think when it's all said and done, there's no question it's the NFC East. It is. It's the Cowboys will get Parsons signed and everything will be ready to go for the Eagles for them. But the Cowboys, Commanders, and Washington are going to, and Philadelphia are going to be battling it out. They really are. I think Washington wins that out because, history shows you it's not going to be a repeat champion in the division. But I think if you go back to last year, Washington beat Detroit in the playoffs. Detroit was the best team in the NFC North. They also, beat Chicago. I know it was a Hail Mary, but they were beating Chicago that whole game and kind of fizzled apart in the fourth to pull it out on the Hail Mary. So Washington took care of business against the NFC North last year. They're going to get a shot again this year to do the same thing against the same teams. But the difference now, I think, is that, I think for once in Washington's history, you're going to be able to go into every football game and ask yourself, who's the best quarterback on the field? You never, ever could ask those questions before. Even when they were winning Super Bowls, there were times they were playing against the Joe Montanas and Phil Simms and all those guys who may have had better quarterbacks. They were just a better team. But now, because they have an elite player at quarterback, as long as that quarterback is healthy and plays, you have a legit chance to win the games you play. And I don't know if there's a game that Washington's going to go in, maybe outside of Kansas City, okay? I don't know if there's hardly too many games they're going to go in where you're going to say someone's quarterback's better than Jaden. So that's why I'm saying this, the NFC North, the schedule that they have, it doesn't matter. Or the primetime games, it doesn't matter. They've got a dog at quarterback, and it changes the perspective of everything. And that's why a game like Green Bay in the past, it might be like, oh, do I really want to travel to Green Bay to watch a loss, and have to go to Wisconsin? No offense, Wisconsin, whatever, Milwaukee. But now it's like, man, it's a Thursday night game. It's Jaden, it's Jordan Love. Gotta be there. I'll be there, so it changes things. But Jaden's the better quarterback of the two. He really is.
Yeah, outside the Bears, the Chiefs, and the Eagles, I don't know. And then the Bears is a inside joke for the show because I still my Caleb. I still love my Caleb Williams stock. As someone as you probably know, I was on the Caleb Williams is better than Jaden Daniels bandwagon coming into the draft, and I can't give up on that. I can't.
I mean, he had every reason to look like he was. And
hey, if you flip those two things, I think bad coaching goes a long way. That's all I got to say.
No, but Caleb still had a decent rookie campaign despite all the crap that was going on in Chicago. And I think Johnson, they're going to have
better.
Yeah, I think with Ben Johnson, you're going to see what he is. He's going to be really good.
Let's go.
I told him this. I said, I'm going to wait till like 2 to 3 more years. Then we could debate who's better.
Exactly. You got to wait. Okay.
Wait 2 to 3 more years, then that's a problem.
No. I think what he meant is you have to wait 2 to 3 more years, and then you can have the actual conversation. Kind of like, i.e., after the second year, a lot of people were saying Carson Wentz was better than Jared Goff, and that aged like milk. I think
was, but he got hurt. I mean,
that's also true.
Carson was on the fast track with those Eagles until he blew his knee out. So, but I think it's safe to say Caleb's going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback in this league for a long time. The problem is he's going to be a backup Pro Bowl quarterback for a long time because of the kid in Washington.
Fair. We'll see. I can't hold out. Like we have some takes that are you plant your flag on, and I'm never giving up. Okay, you can just.
I try. Late,
I'm never giving it up. Okay, I'm just not until the very end.
Okay, so it's all good.
So, I might get done. I'm just a guy standing in the paint, ready to get dunked on. But I have that 1% chance I can get the block. Anyway, to your point though, I think the only 2 quarterbacks you could argue that are definitely better than Jaden, one for sure is Patrick Mahomes, and if someone disagrees with that, I'm sorry. That's just you don't know ball. No offense. And then obviously, I think you have to put Hurts above him since he's the reigning champ at this point. And other than that, I agree with you. For the most part, they're either on the same tier or they're a below tier. I think that's a way to put it, because I think tiers are a better way to look at quarterbacks because situations dictate so much. They could be the same level, but like, for example, Herbert has had way worse of a situation than a lot of people, so on and so forth. But speaking of that, just the vibe of having Jaden Daniels in terms of the guy at quarterback. I mean, obviously we could go back and the RG3 year is different. I guess that's like the comparison people make, but he was coming off the knee injury. And so it was a way different vibe around. They had Cousins, who was a solid quarterback. How unique is this season for Washington? Is this like the most unique off season in terms of just vibes we've might seen in quite some time?
Well, the irony is you haven't really. You could see that they were working hard during camp, and you could see that there's an abundance of talent that wasn't there last year, especially at the skill set positions. But you also were missing your biggest guy. You were missing Terry, and so the vibe was kind of tailored down a little bit. The expectations, you couldn't really expect much because you're like, they need Terry if they're trying to get to the Super Bowl. Well, you knew when it was going to happen. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. You just didn't know when it was going to happen. So now that it's happened before the first game, you've got a couple weeks to get ready for it, a week and a half to be exact. It just makes life so much easier. And now you like yesterday, my talk changed from, okay, without Terry, they're a playoff caliber team. Now you know with Terry, it's a Super Bowl run in the making. That's the goal here. The goal is to dethrone the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm telling you right now, Detroit, the Rams, all those teams are capable. Washington is the team that I think does it. And I think that's because of familiarity thing. They played each other 3 times last year. There's not going to be a level of fear when Washington plays the Eagles. They know what they're getting into. And I think they've prepared. All the offseason moves were made to help Terry, to help Jaden, to help them be able to really go into Philly or when Philly comes into Northwest Stadium, to be able to look across at them and say, you know what, we man up now, let's go. They couldn't do that last year. They stole one at Northwest where Jaden had the 5 touchdowns. That was more of Jaden doing what Jaden does, and then the Eagles defense had never seen something like that. So it was kind of a meltdown at the same time. But you saw in the NFC Championship what was what. That wasn't a fluke win. That was a real beating. That was, you take your little brother and beat on him. And now the little brother has retooled and they feel really good. Now they got one of their main guys back. I think it's go time now. I think it's about to get real this year with this team. It should be fun. It should be exciting. If you're a fan, this is going to be something you haven't seen in a long time, a legit Super Bowl contender where the expectations are that. And let's see if they can answer it.
At Lake Lewis Jr. on Twitter. Lake Lewis, thanks so much for joining us. Coming to a YMCA near you to school you up in some hoops. Thanks so much, man. And next week we're gonna have an actual game to talk about. So it's football season's here, my friend, and I appreciate the time this morning.
All right, take care, my friends. Good talking with you guys.
When we come back today in sports history, we'll wrap up the show next on the morning warm up.
Savings are heating up, and so are the summer super deals at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. You don't need super strength to get approved for credit. Sheeler owns the finance company. Getting approved for credit is super easy on the Motor Mile with financing options for every budget. Sheeler makes car buying easy with the hottest brands all in one location. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Many have miles in the teens, remaining factory warranties, and some are even local one-owner vehicles. Over 900 used vehicles in stock now and ready to move. More than any other dealer in the area, plus exceptional service, selection, and savings. Need some summer spending cash? Sheeler will buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from us. Plus super money for your trade. Volume selling means volume pricing, and we've got the volume with over 900 used vehicles in stock now. No games, no gimmicks, just summer super deals at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile, your premier used car dealer, locally owned for over 50 years. ID1 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Hokie fans, are you still getting your Hokie sports news from someplace like ESPN.com or even worse, the newspaper? You're missing out. Tech Sideline has assembled the largest and most talented team to ever cover Virginia Tech athletics. If you want Hokie sports coverage that is second to none and will make you the smartest fan at the tailgate, subscribe to TechSideline.com for just $12 a month or $120 a year. Tech Sideline, all Hokie, all the time, period. Visit TechSideline.com and subscribe today.
Hey, small to medium business owners, if you're frustrated with slow IT support, high costs, or paying for services you just don't use, it's time for a change. Hi, I'm Colt with We Fix Stupid Computers. We provide reliable on-site and remote support tailored for businesses just like yours. And we go beyond just fixing problems. We empower your staff with real tech knowledge so they can work smarter every day. From repairs to training to full IT support, we save you time, stress, and money. Call We Fix Stupid Computers, 434-525-8590, where smart support meets real savings.
Your home is more than just walls and windows. It's where life happens. And at Right Choice Construction, we get that. We're not just builders. We're fathers, mothers, neighbors, just like you. And every nail and every beam reflects our commitment to creating a place you're proud to live in. With Right Choice Construction, you're choosing a team that's been perfecting the art of building for years. So build with us, build with experience, build with quality, build with Right Choice.
He coasts In the end zone, light them up. Touchdown, Liberty. Liberty Flames football is back. Be at Williams Stadium when the Flames kick off the 2025 season. This Saturday, see Liberty take on the Maine Black Bears. Kickoffs at 4 p.m. in Lynchburg. Cheer on Flames football and experience all the Williams Stadium traditions. 4QF, Flames Quarter, and more. Don't miss the Flames football season opener this Saturday. Tickets at lufootball.com.
Don't miss the final days of our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get a new 2025 Ram 1500 and save up to $10,000 off MSRP. Choose a new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee and get retail bonus cash up to $3,500 off MSRP. Hurry in for huge final days discounts on over 230 pre-owned vehicles. It's almost over. Get to our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bedford, 1750 Independence Boulevard. MagicCityBedford.com.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected with the show at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
7:54 on this Tuesday, August 26th. That was a fun conversation with Lake Lewis. Talked serious stuff, and then we had some fun. But yeah, by the way, Ty, Lake, and I, if we are a team, Ed can roll out whoever he wants. We're gonna win. Yeah. I got Ed, and then y'all figure out the rest. Okay, and I will be the anchor to the team, but I think you two can carry me enough to get it done. So anyway, let's get to it. Today in sports history next.
Tyrod waiting. Tyrod scrambling. Back at the 20. Fires end zone and is caught for the touchdown by Roberts. It's a miracle in Blacksburg. Tyrod did it, Mikey. Tyrod did it.
It's time for Today in Sports History.
Play action. Salter to throw back to the left, and it's caught in the end zone. Light him up. Touchdown, Liberty. Bentley Henshaw.
From ruin to redemption, the Virginia Cavaliers are the 2019 NCAA National Champions.
Let's hear what Ty really knows about what happened on this day in sports history.
All right, Luke. The first Major League Baseball game was televised. This channel broadcast a doubleheader at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field between the Reds and the Dodgers. What channel was it? You have a 33.3% chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna say CBS.
Incorrect. It was NBC. In 1961, this Hall of Fame opened in Toronto.
Has to be hockey.
That is correct. So 1 for 1. There you go. In the year, now we're gonna jump. All right, you ready? Redemption. This is redemption for you. In 2011, this man recorded his record-setting 50th NASCAR Busch Series victory, edging teammate Joey Logano in the Food City 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. This man broke a tie with Mark Martin for the record in the NASCAR second-tier series. Hint: he may have been an answer recently.
I forget, but I'm gonna guess Kyle Busch.
That's correct. There you go.
Boom.
See, he's learning.
One of the two NASCAR names I know coming in clutch.
He's actually learning stuff. In 2017, these two men fought in a boxing match. It was a much hyped 154-pound fight. Was more competitive than expected, and it sold a lot of pay-per-views. It was in 2017.
Is that Mayweather and Floyd?
Well, Mayweather
and Floyd are the same person.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at that. 3-1. Not bad. There's only one. I'm not gonna sing. All right. 13-6. Not bad. Not bad.
I'm kind of impressed with myself.
By the way, on this date in 2024, Boston Red Sox catcher Danny Jansen became the first player to play for both teams in the same game against Toronto because the game was suspended due to weather on June 26th, and he was traded prior to the resumption. So pretty interesting of note on this date 2 years ago. But yeah, there you have it. And that's our show. Great conversation with Lake. A little bit of fun. Hey, if you don't know me, just remember one thing. I'll stand on business when it comes to my boy Caleb Williams. I'm not going to jump off that flag. But Lake with some great perspective about the Commanders, his thoughts. I mean, 14 wins seems like a reach there, but I mean, I guess I could see it. But we'll ask for his official prediction on the season next week on this season. But if you missed that conversation, check it out. So thanks so much to Lake. Good job today, Luke. Proud of you.
Thanks.
You did good.
It was
Ty,
fun.
did you have fun today? He gives a thumbs up. Oh, Ty, what do you think of so you like my hoops idea? We'll give him, you know who we'll give Ed? Bryson Gordon, who'll join us tomorrow. There we go. Bryson Gordon will join us tomorrow, talking all things Liberty. Will we have an answer at quarterback? We'll find out tomorrow. Much more on the Morning Room. Bye, everybody.